which is giving a dividend of about 90 kobo, yielding almost 10% dividend yield. So that, together with the other impressive distributions, are still likely to push the market upwards this week. So it is a wonderful story to tell about the market last week, and it's reasonably believed that the market is likely to build upon the level it attained last week.
David, what are your thoughts on the dividend yields of these companies? All of them, or most of them, that have declared a dividend, not just cash dividend or bonus shares for investors, but for those who have concentrated on cash dividend, looking at their share price and vis-a-vis what they're giving out as cash dividend. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the performance of most of these companies for the year ended 2012 have actually been spectacular. A lot of them have surpassed the dividend payout that investors expected. If you look at the dividend yield of companies like Okomo, Oil Palm, a lot of the banks like Zenith and GT Bank, and even Sky Bank, they have surpassed the benchmark that usually is expected of companies in the market. So on the average, the dividend yields have been very, very impressive. And a lot of them have sweetened the distributions to shareholders with bonuses. It is so wonderful that even companies that ordinarily don't give out bonuses have done so this year, like UACN, for instance, has given a bonus, which is wonderful. And then capping it is the one-for-one bonus given by Okomo Oil, which has stabilized at a price of 100 naira. But analysts believe that the current price is still conservative, considering the strong financials of that company and the potentials of that company along Nigeria's agricultural value chain. So everything seems to be quite positive for the equities market. It's also facilitated by the declining inflation rate in the economy. So right now the indicators are all positive for the equities market. But we are also quite excited that the retail bond platform on the Nigerian Stock Exchange has been fully reactivated and is firing on all cylinders. And so we now have a platform that is giving investors multiple product offerings. And so investors can actually diversify appropriately into both equities and debt securities right now, and even into derivatives, because we have the Absa New Gold also very, very active in the market. So it's a market that is getting balanced with multiple investment outlets.
Now, David, so if I could just quickly come in here, David. Now, we're looking at a very huge momentum last week. In just the space of 4 days, the market, the All-Share Index gained close to 2,000 points, moving from 33,000 to 35,000. Now, as we've both established, that has all been based on the earnings. Now, are we looking, can the market sustain that momentum? Perhaps not as much as we saw last week for obvious reasons, because a lot of those earnings have already come in. But in terms of sustaining that, perhaps between 33 and 34 points, can the market do that this week?
Yes, the possibility is quite high that the market can sustain the rally that we witnessed last week, because we have some price-sensitive information hitting the market. We have started receiving the first quarter results of most of the principal companies. I think the first quarter results released by the banks were quite impressive, and they contributed to propelling the market upward last week. And so as more first quarter results hit the market, then we have price-sensitive information that is capable of sustaining the trend in the market. And if they continue to remain impressive, that means the possibility of a rally continuing can not be underestimated.
Okay,
so
David, one last question, David, before I let you go. Any word on UBA, United Bank for Africa, its audited 2012 results? And I know the market has been waiting for a very long time for this result, and obviously there's been a prolonged delay. Is there any word from the bank?
Well, we can only speculate, but expectations are very, very high that UBA should have an impressive result, and that this time around it should distribute something tangible to investors. And so that expectation is partly responsible for what is affecting the huge demand for that security. So there are high expectations, and we hope that bank will meet the expectations this time around.
Well, perhaps they're saving the best for last, but then again, fingers crossed on that. Thank you, David. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Really do appreciate it. Have a profitable trading session today.
Okay, thank you and goodbye.
I've been talking to David Andoring, CEO Lambert Securities, calling live from the trading floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. He's been joining us for our Eye on the Capital Market segment in association with Guaranty Trust Bank. Welcome back. Well, it looks like the stock market may be heading to a strong finish today. I'm just looking at some early numbers coming in. Three of the market heavyweights. Guinness has already gained 7 naira 87 kobo. Dangote Cement 6 naira 80 kobo. UACN 5 naira 88 kobo. So we might actually be looking at another strong finish today. But of course, like I always say, fingers crossed on that. We'll report the numbers when they come in comprehensively at sometime around between 2:30 and 3 p.m. this afternoon. Now back to what we're looking at today. We've got our eye on the Nigerian economy. We're looking at some key issues still prevailing right now in the economy. I'm being joined now by Kola Ogunle. He's an economic policy analyst. Thank you so much, Kola, for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Now, many of the issues that we keep talking about, we're almost at half year, and usually at half year we take stock. But, while before that even happens, there's some of the issues that we can look at. Issues that come up from time to time, especially the issue of, development, the distinction between economic growth and economic development. We know what projections are for our GDP growth this year from the IMF, the World Bank, even from our own policymakers here, somewhere between 6 and 7%. But do you think we've been able to, since this problem has been identified, we've heard the Minister of Finance constantly say that, yes, we know that we're growing rapidly, but, there's that divide, there's that break somewhere between actually having growth, and development at the same time. Do you think we've been able to break that gap in the last 5 months?
Well, in the last 5 months, I think the trend in the macroeconomic situation has continued on the positive note. But the important thing is the nexus between economic growth and economic development. That has always been our problem. And we are looking here at what exactly are we looking at when we say economic development? Because our people are yearning for economic development. When they hear of growth statistics, GDP growth, exchange rate stability, price stability, it does not make much sense to them. What makes sense to them is how is it reflected in their developmental aspirations. We are looking at poverty level. Look at the poverty level in this country. In spite of the growth that we have achieved, it's still very, very high. And we have a situation where a disproportionate member of the society are living under the $2 specified level. So what we are now saying is that if we are to grow the economy in a way that it will engender development, what do we need to do? That's where we are now. It's not a question. The growth has been established. All the reforms are going along the way they should go. If you look at the Nigerian economy in Africa, it's one of the fastest growing economies. Even in the world, we are number 41. In any case, the emerging economies are not growing much now, not even the developed economies. So if you are doing 6% and above, you are like a star. But what is important is how does that affect the guy in Djibouti? How does it affect the man in Ibadan? The man in Maiduguri? How will he feel the impact of this economic growth? Those are the issues that I will be looking at today. And I will start straight away from the fact that most of the developmental objectives that we have are encapsulated in the MDG. And you find out that
the Millennium